Hello, everyone. Let me introduce myself to you first. Hope you guys can see me clearly and then hear my voice throughout the Zoom link. I don't think anybody could just come and just kind of introduce myself to you guys. So I have to kind of just kind of lead this up and then I gotta talk about my story and then cover the journey up to now. I just kind of put my PowerPoint up there. I hope you guys can see the PowerPoint. I just kind of talk through with my PowerPoint. So I don't see that much kind of faces on the journalists. So pretty much I can talk to the monitor right here. Okay. First of all, my name is Hanul Jeong. I'm serving and I'm attending Washington Emmanuel Presbyterian Church in Virginia. I've been there since 2006. And then literally I've been here in America since 2006 as well. Because I was born in Korea and then I grew up and then I went to school in Korea. And then after the military duty in Korea for 2 years and 1 month, and then I decided to come here to America for study. First of all, I had nobody to come and help me. At that point, I was here. So I'll pretty much come up by myself and I have no human resources. That's pretty much, I was alone by myself. And then I just kind of started off just establishing my own school system. I just kind of go into school. So pretty much like I start off on my own. And then literally I've been here for 16 years. I'm doing now a licensed acupuncturist and then physical therapy assistant. Also, I'm just going to start a new company since 2019 December. And then I'm a CEO and the co-founder of the Holistic Company. So provide education training of the healthcare provider, caregivers in terms of massage and physical therapy and acupuncture, and then so on and so forth. Today's topic I want to talk about is from the Healing Ministry Summit. This is very close to what I've been doing it and then how I just living my life up to now, along with the Word of God. My background is pretty much simple. I used to go to church in Korea, but I didn't know the gospel correctly, accurately. So pretty much I just kind of habitually went to church because my family forced me to church because my family was not Christian born. It was very, we didn't have much like a religion back then, but my grandma went to church and started believing in Jesus Christ. And then sooner or later, my aunt and my father, they just can literally kind of follow mom and they come to the church together. Pretty much like that was kind of a turning point 2006 before I came here to the United States. I didn't know the gospel, honestly, because I went to church. I had a lot of questions about the gospel. I have a lot of questions about the Bible, but I didn't know anything about that. But I asked questions to, pastors in the church. They didn't answer that. That's pretty much a legalistic aspect of the Bible. And then I didn't want to go to church at all in Korea. And then what happened after that, stopped going to church in Korea, and then my life pretty much like a plumbing and collapsing. So what that means, because I have no desire to whatever I want, and I have a lot of, discouragement, a lot of in my heart, and then I didn't do anything. And then most of all, I grew up in a broken family. So my parents actually divorced at an early age. So pretty much I live pretty much by myself. I went to church. I had to kind of pack my lunch by myself. And then there's no mommy. So, so I don't know about you guys feeling about that, but pretty much grew up in a broke family without my mom. And then I grew up with my aunt and then my grandmoms in Korea. So that really makes me think a lot about, stuff in my life. And then, by the time in Korea, by the time we went to university and college, so you guys thinking of a lot of stuff for the future. As a man, you have to go to, military stuff. That's a lot of stuff, but eventually my life brings down this way. And then by the time I decided to come here to the United States, I'm pretty much at kind of rock bottom. I hit the rock bottom because I didn't know what to do. But I only have an aunt living in the United States. She told me that if I can just come here, maybe I can have an opportunity to study again. But I don't have any money, I have no connection, nothing around there. So yesterday I received a message from the Pastor Liu. Sounds like he talked about my life so far on it here. So you guys have to stand on your feet, right? You got to stand up on your 2 feet right there. Nobody will help you. Nobody going to understand you. That was pretty much my life by the time I just got here. So that's why this makes me think about the healing ministry. And then that's how I just grew up out of it. And then I just got become the summit in the Christ. So just I want to show you some kind of, let me see. Let me show you a timeline. I came here to the state in 2006 is April. I was a kind of international student, which is an F1 visa student. I actually got at the age of the 25 or 26, so I can't get any support from the family. So my family is not rich and in Korea. And then I only have an aunt living here, but she can help me out, but that's the bottom line. I mean, there's nothing more than I can ask for it. So I have to looking for a lot of stuff. Have to get a license, driver license. Have to go to find out the school. Just people. I look around the people in Koreans. They don't know anything about that. So they have language barriers. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to go to like a DMV. They don't know how to do anything they want. So pretty much like a larger language barriers and kind of limitation right there. So 2006. I went to one of the English Institute in the Silver Spring, Maryland, and then I was there for a couple of months, and then I decided to move on to study in a community college nearby my house. And then I went to Montgomery College in 2007, and then I studied for AA degree in the general studies, and then I finished by 2009 in May. And then I decided to move on physical therapy school, but when you think about the graduate school of physical therapy, you guys kind of have a lot of financial burden. So you guys have a lot of money, or otherwise you have to kind of apply for the kind of FAFSA, those kind of financial aid. But my status was not, because international students pretty much had to pay 3 times more tuition you guys to pay for it. So I wanted to have physical therapy, but there's no other way. But I just found the one program, PTA program, Montgomery College, which is community college. So. And then I applied for it, and then I just got accepted. And then I was there for 2 years in that license, 2011. And then by the time I graduated from the program, PTA program, and then following year, 2011 to 2012, international student allowed to work in 1 year in the United States. And then I was there 1 year for opportunity to work as a PTA and the SNF nursing home, a lot of different facilities, the rehab facility. And then I was lucky to have the kind of opportunity to work in 1 year around my house. And then 2012, I had to decide to move on to if I want to study, how to continue. But when I look at myself, I have no money. Even if I just kind of made money, there wasn't enough to pay a tuition. So tuition-wise, 2012, when I applied for school, which is University of Baltimore, there was a program I didn't want to get into it. There was the health system management. The program was okay, but I didn't want to go to another school, but I want to study, kinesiology or physical therapy or prep program for a graduate school, but I didn't have any money back then. So I just got with the money that I in my pocket, only thing I can do, I can apply for one of the BS program. But I received a presidential scholarship based on my GPA and essay stuff. But even with the scholarship I got, there was not fully funded for my tuition. So every semester I paid almost 12K, so 12,000. Every semester I pay out of my pocket 12K, even with the funding or scholarship subsidized, but it was not fully enough to cover my full tuition stuff. But everything was God's grace, because I can talk about it later in details. I went through a lot of stuff, of financial burden and stress, but God just got me through and then just kind of finished it up, all process and I have to face up. And then I graduated from University of Baltimore with a major of the health system management. And then 2014, I finished my program again. I have another 1 year of OPT. And then I was able to work again. And then I found a job in PT again. And then I practiced in a lot of different facilities, independent living, assisted living, outpatient. I was a manager of the outpatient clinic with a hospital setting. And I was their manager. And then I try to get help and then trying to get a green card so I can just stay here as long as I want. But it was not working out. There was not God's plan. I thought there was God's plan, it was not. And then what happened to me after that, 2015, life event happened. That is a marriage. So I didn't mean to get married because I had a lot of scars. Like I mentioned, that I had kind of grew up in a broken family. Because when I look at my mom and the daddy, and then they have no good relationship at all. And then literally, I don't have any good feeling about the marriage. So I didn't want it. But God really just kind of intervened, spiritually intervened my heart and my soul and my thinking. And then God really healed me up with the word. And then God just kind of showed me another way to look at the marriage. And then I can just kind of met one of the lady in my life. I didn't like it at first, honestly speaking. Um, maybe I have a high standard of the lady, but she was okay. I didn't mean to, but eventually ended up just kind of living together on the same roof and the same bed. But there was God's plan as well. So, and then 2017 from the 2015, I've been living and then working, and then we just taking care of each other and as a marriage life. And then 2017, my first daughter was born. Her name is Sarah. I'll show you a picture later. And then 2017, 19, I decided to go back to school for my master's and then my doctorate. But I was thinking a lot of stuff. I wanted to go to doctor of physical therapy, but I thought that was God's plan at first. But God changed my eyes into the way He wanted to. And then I looked ahead of my life in the time. And then acupuncture is a very, very prospective and then very, very bright future. And then I just studied acupuncture. And then 2.5 years, I finished the MSA program, which is a master program of science applied application. And then as soon as I finished it up, and then I continued with my doctoral program. And then 2020, and then my second daughter was born too. So when you look at my timeline, my life in here, pretty much there's nonstop. The study, working, nonstop. I know it's kind of crazy, but there's no other way. So I can get any help, I can get any support. So I have to always feed myself. So that's pretty much kind of straightforward. But thing is, when I look back on my life, I used to have a lot of friends, especially the Koreans. They feel some funded support from the family in Korea. But what happened is, what happened in 2008 and 9? You guys remember? Financial subprime crisis. So I got here 2006. By the time I go to school, 2007. So what happened is financial crisis. So economic system collapsing, businesses all out of business. Back then, when I got here, we talk about the Remnant movement, and then in Washington area, they have a lot of campaign. We used a lot of the evangelism movement stuff. But 2008 and 9, that's going down because of crisis. This is a little different pandemic as compared to now in 2007. But back then, I have no money, but I have to go to school. But always thinking about it. But 2008 and 9, that's pretty much a hardship and hard time of so many people here. And then churchy, they are bankruptcy. Pastors, they don't have money to get fully funded from the church. They decide to go back to school or go back to Korea. Friend of mine and any my Korean friends, they decide to go back to Korea. Pretty much, I was pretty much left out. Honestly speaking, I didn't have any money to buy the tickets to go back to Korea. Honestly, because I have no place to go back in Korea. I have no money to buy the ticket, so I have no other way but stay here. So I didn't know that was God's plan, but God actually just led me through from the point. So this is a little picture. So when you look at the picture from the top left, that was my first job, 2011. By the time I graduated from my PTA program, I was not able to get a job because of my visa status. Nobody wanted to. I have many interviews. Everything was fine, but HR, they just kind of called me and talked about my job position. And then, okay, I'm a student visa. I only have a 1 year. They talk about like, oh, I'm sorry, but everybody like you, but we can't help it, So that situation, so I was kind of almost crying, there's another way. And then I was kind of sitting in my computer and then open my, perfect message, bulletin board, and then open my Bibles. And then I was working by myself. And then I don't know what God's plan was. And then I still remember there was a Monday. I just holding to the word from the pulpit. And then all of a sudden, a friend of mine called me, "Hey, Han, you still looking for a job?" And then he was very close mind in the PTA program. He said like, "Hey, I have a friend of mine looking for a therapist. If you want, go apply for it." But my mindset was like, it's going to be pretty much the same thing. Eventually, I can get a job because of my job status. But I just kind of just knocking on the door, and then I just kind of apply for a job, and then have a job interview with her. Her name is Michelle. She's a Muslim, honestly. She was very open-minded, and I had an interview with her, and then she said, "Hey, Han, I like you, I love you. I want you to come on my board, come on my team, so please come on and join us." I was like, "Oh yeah, I know, thank you." I just sent a letter after the interview. "Okay, this is my situation. Thank you for opportunity of an interview today, but I wish I could just come through and come on board. But anyway, thank you." That's kind of, I just kind of sent a message like that. And then she was so powerful. She's been there for 20 years at one facility. And she was so powerful, director of the rehab. She loves me. I don't know why. And then she just kind of pushing me, come through and come on board of the team. And then she talked to the HR for me. And then I don't care, you guys are thinking, I like him, I want to hire him. And then I just kind of right there in the work for a year. So back then I was holding on to the word. God, if you allow me to work, they was just give me the missionary field so I could evangelize, I can share the word. Because back then I was thinking about maybe share the gospel to people, especially like a patient or client, right? But when I was there, I was to get along with my friends. You can see the pictures in the middle, one in the middle top, one in the left bottom. There's my friends. I still very, very close with them. And then one on the right. They was like, I didn't want to share the gospel, but pretty much not working, but I was not discouraging anything, but I couldn't understand how Americans thinking about their life and the gospel. When I asked them and I had to share the gospel, I could learn that, oh, that's the life of Americans. They're thinking process of American right there. Because I didn't know that. Because I was so brave to share the gospel. I was just go, "Hey, this is gospel." I used to do that, but not anymore. Back then, I learned a lot from my friends and colleagues. And then I can understand, God allowed me to open my more eyes wide up. And then I can see the real field. What should I do? Share the gospel. What should I prepare for teaching and sharing the gospel to people in the field? So they really made me prepare for the next field and the next time of God's time frame. So when you look at the picture down in the middle, so the lady is sitting there and the one baby sitting there, they're a friend of mine from the PTA program. Yesterday, Pastor, you talk about you guys survive on your own. That's pretty much a life. When I just got into the PTA program, there's only 24 people accepted. So I was the only one Asian guy. So 12 people American, white Caucasians. 11 African American. I was the only one Asian guy sitting right in the middle. I still remember the first day of the class. I was there. And then you got, the classroom right there, half of the classroom, they sitting, all Caucasians sitting together, all close together. Half of the classroom, they all African Americans sitting together. They segregated. And I was like sitting right in the middle. I couldn't just go to the left, I go to the right. And the lunchtime, I was so digested, I didn't know what to do. Everybody just kind of clapped together, just eating together, talking about what they want. But I was thinking about myself, and then, pretty much like left out. I was like not in the middle, not in the left or right. And then eventually I just kind of have a good relationship with them, but they was digested. So I believe many remnant, maybe just kind of they went to school, maybe college. I think they pretty much got the same feeling. I don't know about that, how you guys feeling about, being isolated in the school or classroom, but I was pretty much started off, being isolated by myself like that. So that's pretty much pictures that are from the old time, 2009, 11, and 12. The picture, there was a top left. You can see the glass, and that was kind of pretty much pop. That was the last day of my job ending date. So that was my last ending. They want to go to happy hours to celebrate my last day of my job. So and then I just went to the job, went to the happy hour with my friends and colleagues, and then we celebrate them. There was a good picture back then. Okay, pictures. Okay, I'll show the pictures. So just want to talk about the flow of the New Year's message. From 2006, I was not in the Darapang movement in Korea. I went to church outside of Darapang. I didn't know about the Darapang in Korea. So by the time I just got here, my aunt was a Darapang movement. And then she shared the gospel to me. And then I was crying. Actually, back then, one of the pastor, my head pastor visited my house and then shared the gospel to me. I understood the gospel, and then I accepted Jesus into my heart as a master. And then I was crying so badly. I was so happy to listen to the message. I was so happy to accept Jesus into my heart as a master. I didn't know why, but I couldn't stop crying back then. Almost my running nose, tears coming out continuously. I couldn't help but stop it. And then I was feeling that one of something like a black shadow just kind of coming out of my body. I never just feeling like it before, but I was kind of feeling the light of the Jesus Christ came to my heart and then my life up to my flesh, my body, and then shadow pretty much like coming out of my body. There was kind of feeling, and then I never feel that before. In Korea, I never listened to the gospel, and in 2006, that was the first time I listened to the gospel, listen to the message, listen to the gospel. And then throughout the message from the pulpit and New Year's message, and then I was able to kind of follow through the message. So luckily, I have a human resources. I have nobody to hold on to. So I have no other way but hold on to the word. So that's the only thing I can do. If I wish I had a lot of money, but I didn't have any money. But only thing I can do, hold on to the word. So when you look at from 2006 and 2020 up to now, 2006, there was a New Year's message was life, religious and cultural reformation. So I didn't know that. So that was the first thing I heard about the Darapang church in the movement. And then 2007, and then I completely understand the message. And then age of IUTC talked about the oneness. And then next year devotion, in 2009 devotion and answers, and coming out through it. And then 2019, 2020, we now up to now we talk about the answer over 1, 2, 3. IUTC and CVDIP. Reason why I just brought this up to you guys, because I have a lot of experience, a lot of answers from the field based on the message that I listened to. So for example, 2010, I believe Pastor Yu talked about the 3 organizations, right? UH and I can't remember, I'm sorry. And then Holy Mason, not the Holy Mason, what was it? Freemason, and then Jewish groups. So we talk about, Pastor, you talk about 3 different religions and different organizations. 2010, 2011, I had to go out for my clinical affiliation. So I have got a clinical training in the clinic, private clinic in outside school. And then first clinical instructor I met, she was deeply rooted into New Age movement. So that was so funny. I didn't know about her, but she was so dark. Her thinking mindset was so dark, and then she was like it's not bright at all. I don't know how or why, but she was not nice. But I had a hard time from her. She always gave me a hard time, and then every time we saw the patient, and then she gave me a lot of hard time. Hey, Han, what can you do? Do what you gotta do. And then, I didn't learn anything from her except I shouldn't do like that. The first lady and the first clinical training, and then I just met the lady with the background of New Age. And then Pastor, you talked about 3 organizations. Also, I thought it was kind of coincidence. The second clinical affiliation, I met Freemason. The guy, I went out in DC for my second clinical affiliation. He's a physical therapist, and then he was in charge of one of the large in DC. So he was very influential. So he has good heart and good personality. He talking to many people, and then he actually recruiting many like a therapist and friends and inside the facility. I didn't know that. One time he showed me like one of the logo, right? You guys know about the G mark and then Freemason. And he looked at me and he showed me the kind of logo stuff. And then he asked me, "Hey Han, I believe the Korea, they have a lot of good stuff. They have a good hand skill. Do you know any place I can just get this logo embroidered for kind of cheap price?" He asked me the question. Also, I look at that. It was, "Oh, that's Freemason." I was like, "Oh, that's Freemason. So you guys are Freemason." And he denied it. I think he was embarrassed. I recognizing it. He embarrassed him. Oh, I was like, "Oh no, I was just gonna ask him if you can do it." And then like, oh, okay. And then what I observed from him throughout for 2 months was there. He was so good recruiting many people into his organization and then really just kind of, vital services. I still remember the one day in front of me, while we were treating one of the patient, and then he just kind of talked to me like, "Haha, I can show you something." And then he started kind of prayer of the kind of Freemason. It was like I can't even forget about that. He just kind of for 10 or 15 minutes, not even single word. He never stopped for 15 minutes, just kind of praying. And the vocalizer praying for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And he said, if you're able to go up to the certain level of the Freemason, you have to be able to pass one of the tests. Every time, every level, you have to pass it over. You have to be able to vocalize a prayer each level. So he's a high level. He was pretty much at 31, 32 degrees. And then he just showed me off, showing off kind of prayer, vocalizing, and then in front of kind of patient. And then I was like, wow. And then prior to that, I was preparing for the gospel message to share to him. But I couldn't even say the one word, sing out of my mouth. He was kind of showing up and so proud. And then later on, I recognized one of the patients we had, that was a Freemason members. So many Freemason members right there. And then I realized that one single person had a strong impact on the facility. That guy, I still remember, I still connect with him, I still talking with him, stay with him, stay connected with him, but he's still recruiting many people, many patients, many therapists, one field right there. And then Pastor Yu, back then, he talked about how important one single person with the gospel is, very important one in the field. And then I realized it right away, hit my bell, hit my head right away. There was kind of good experience about how one important person with the gospel always saved the field. And the last one is, my clinical affiliation was a Jewish group. I went to physical therapist for a long period of time, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to start. I joined one of the outpatient clinic in DC. The lady, she was an owner, but she was Jewish. She was so proudly practicing people. She has so much knowledge about the physical therapy. She was so proud of her religions. And then I didn't know any relationship. I never happened to talking to the Jewish people before. That was my first time talking to Jewish people. And then I can tell how proud she thinking about identity. I can tell how proud she can just talking to people with a background of religious group of Jewish or heritage. And then I learned that a lot from them. And then throughout the kind of years message through the organization for 1 or 2 years. And then I just literally from the field, I have a good experience about 3 different religious groups. And then God allowed me to open my eyes wide up. And then I can move on to the Word of God. And then 2011, 2012, let's see, 2014, what happened to me before 2012 and 2013, from the purpose message from the year's message, God actually, Pastor, you talked about if you have any problem, you have to go into the problem with the word. You have to knocking on the door. You have to you have to challenge yourself. If you believe the gospel, if you have any problem in front of you, you have to just go straight into it with the word. And the word of God is gonna save you. Word of God will be with you. Back then, I was not confident, and the God was kind of with me. But I believe God just kind of leading me up there. I believe God was with me. But financial burden, I couldn't just pay tuition out of my pocket. The tuition was so high. First semester, after the first semester done, I wasn't able to afford it. So I pretty much got abandoned. And then New Year's message, 2013, I just listened to the word, but just coming to the one ear is coming out to the other side. Because when you look at the reality, when you look at the life situation, maybe word of God, maybe not, you want to believe it, you cannot believe it. Because look at the problem, looks kind of bigger than the belief you had in your heart. I just literally just kind of gave up. And then the first week of the Friday, I went to the Friday worship night services. I just confessed to God, God, there's nothing I can do. This is pretty much it. Thank you for allowing me to just come here along with you. I think this is it. So I didn't know what to do. And then I just cried in the services. I came home. And then I didn't know what to do. I just kind of opened the Bible, just amazing the word. And then all of a sudden, just God gave me an idea. Hey, write a letter. I was like, write a letter? To whom? And then I just look at the Bible and then look at the first Acts 1:1. Oh, Theophilus. Oh, he got the letter. Oh, Luke wrote the letter to Theophilus. And then God just kind of speak to me. Hey, Han, try, write the letter to the school. To whom? And then I was like looking up in the directory and then my school. And then I just kind of write up the letter and then sent out to school dean of the University of Baltimore. I just talked about my situation, and then I talked about what I want to do after graduation, and then what my plan was, and then what I'm going to do after the graduation. I just talked to my situation, and then as a Christian, this is what I believe. I just printed my letter and then sent out to the dean. And what happened is the Monday following week, there was the last day of the registration. Registration was over. And then I got a phone call from the school. I didn't pick it up because I didn't know the number. And then somebody left a voice message. And then they said, hey, we got the letter, and then we understand the situation. So please go ahead, talk to your registration officer, and then they're going to help you too. I was like, wow. I have no word. I lost my mind, I lost word. And then really? And then I just called the office of the admissions. They said, dean of the school allow you register for the sign up for the class and registration. So go ahead and pick up the class you want for this semester, and then rest of the money you have to pay for the tuition, that's gonna be waived for the rest of the year. God changed the situation right away, because back then I didn't know what to do, how I do it. But when I meditated the word, and the God just kind of gave me a voice, hey, write the letter. To whom? Dean of the school. I just did. I didn't believe anything. I just kind of followed the word, because back then the message was like that. So I'll talk about a little bit more details about that. This is pretty much a covenant journey. Since last year, Pastor, you talked about CVDIP. When I listened to the puppy message from the Pastor 김일건 목사님, 김일건 목사님 said, God only gave you answer in the past. So what that means, when you hold to the word from the pulpit, I believe God already gave you CVDIP answers. As soon as I listen to the word, and then I look back on my life, and then I just can look at my events, problems, how God turned the situation into the way He wanted me to lead up. And then I found the CVDIP from my past inside the problems. That's my background. So I don't know how you guys will find the CVDIP from the pulpit, but the way I found the CVDIP, I actually found this from my problems, from the word, from the pulpit, and then every cornerstone I have a faith, and then God changed the situation into so much blessing, So I thought there was a problem. God actually changed the problem into the blessing right away. So, so I'm going to talk about little CVDIP later. But reason why I wanted to healing ministry, like I mentioned, that my background, my family, broken family, and then as long as I listen to the word, and God always healing me through the word, and then I can from the 2018 from the New Year's message talk about the healing in the summit, and then still remember the word. The book of Acts, chapter 19 and verses 21, you must see the room. And then I wanted to healing ministry. By the time I went to school for acupuncture school, many people just kind of joined the program to maybe just go to school studying acupuncture. They might be want to do, maybe they open their own clinic. But my thinking process is different. I already got an answer. I wanted the franchise of a wellness center. So many people just kind of, they want to be a best acupuncturist, but that's not my interest. I don't like that because I just kind of system-wise, I will kind of open up the franchise system and then I spread it out and then I just kind of open up my own business. Yes, but I wanted to franchise. But when I asked the professors, many people, they thinking like maybe that's impossible. Why? Acupuncture is not fully set up. So there's still going, a lot of research is going on. Maybe many people, this is impossible. They just kind of study how you're going to just kind of open a clinic. Maybe you have your own clinic, maybe own needle techniques. They're not going to share. They just kind of stick with their own way. So they're not going to expose any secret to other people. But my mind is different. God want me to like open up the wellness center, follow the water movement, and then evangelist movement here. So I just kind of put a topic by the time I went to the school, acupuncture school in Virginia, and then God allowed me to meet many good friends, many good co-workers. The company I established, I have another co-founder. He's another UBF missionary. And then we have a kind of same goal. 2018, I received the word, you must see the wrong. You must see the wrong. God knocking my head continuously. And then like, what is that? I just started thinking, I just asked myself, what is the future? What is that healing ministry means? And then many people, when you look outside, many people like they're in meditation. They usually acupuncture needle technique. They just kind of focus on the body, physical healing and treatment, and then recovery. But when you look at that spiritual reality, if you don't get healed on the spiritual wise first, people are not going to get better. When you look at the people with addiction, they're not going to get better. Even acupuncture, they talk about like they kind of ear point auricular kind of acupuncture technique. They might be helpful and then relieve the symptom they have. But when you look at that, their life is miserable still. But my background and then the way God just kind of healed me, and then I can understand like, okay, from the healing ministry to the summit, only possible inside of Christ, only possible inside the kingdom of God, only possible inside the feeling of the Holy Spirit. That's what I realized it. That's my family specialty feature all combined together. And then that's going to be my theme in my life. And then my family theme, my covenant journey, pretty much like healing ministry to the summit. So I'm not going to answer the question, what's the difference between treatment and healing? Treatment pretty much the physical body. You're going to focus on the physical body, get better, or physical therapy or physical wise. But healing is different. You have to kind of heal up through the word of God. You have to meet with God, Christ. There's no other way. If your soul is not going to be saved, you cannot heal up at all. But when you look at the outside, they're talking about different ways, right? You can be the master of your life. When you look at, you can heal yourself up. When you look up the many different ways, you can be the master of your life. So you can pick up whatever you want. You have to lead yourself up. You're gonna develop a life to your life. So you're the master. So that's all wrong. When I look at people, every time I treat my patient, they always are 90% they have anxiety, 90% they have depressions. So they don't know where the problems came in. So they always kind of conflict, internal conflict. But funny thing is when a patient look at me, they look at me, my coworkers look at me every time they talk about, Han, how come you're so peaceful? How come you're so calm down there? And they're like, oh, maybe, I don't know. I'll answer the question like that. But when people look at that without knowing the spiritual reality, they always talk about the physical body stuff. That's outer surface. But I think that's the answer for difference between treatment and healing. So Healing culture in the world, like I said, meditation, there's different ways, a lot of, they talk about the frequency of the sound. So that's one of the research topic in the doctoral program, acupuncture. So talk about the 11.5 chance. I believe truly healing only possible where? Or inside the gospel. So Pastor, you already talked about the gospelization, establishment of the throne, establishment of the historic summit. So that's the only way we can get the answer and the healing possible. So since 2009, I've been preparing for Healing Ministry manual book. There's 10 categories. I just kind of collect the whole information from the pastor use message and pulpit message, and then from the books outside the literature. Just contact individual if you're interested in the manual book. I can show you around. This is a little different manual book other people talking about, but there's pretty much a gospelization based on the gospelization book. So, answer that I have received in 2020, like I mentioned the first earlier, established with a missionary company in 2020 by the follow of the purpose message, Washington Emmanuel Presbyterian Church. I didn't want to do business, honestly speaking. Maybe I can just make a good money if I have it just hire. I can just, but when you look at the future, look ahead of time, if I don't try knocking on the door in the field, maybe we can just kind of happy with what you're doing it, right? Like just like Americans, we go out to work, 9 to 5 job, maybe have a pay day off, and then I enjoy my day off. But I don't think that's enough to save the field in the United States of America. I'm not a business person. I'm not that smart. I'm not that brilliant. I'm not that kind of person. But by the flow of the word, and I have no choice but to set up the company. That's not my, that's beyond my ability and capacity. So that's the answer. So I can see a clear pathway in my true healing ministry in the United States. What I'm going to do, what I want to do for the next 10 years, I want to establish a wellness center throughout the state, but I'm going to focus on Virginia, Maryland, nearby state. And so many people think that wellness center is very good, but with the experience, expectancy that I have, I'm going to establish a system, share the gospel to people, but that's pretty much like a wellness center, but that's a little different thing. I wanted to follow the answer, 20 strategies in my field. That means maybe if I just do wellness center like others, maybe I just do, I just focus on making revenue, make a business, make more money. But that's important, yes. But people come to my wellness center, they can receive the gospel, they can understand the gospel, their spiritual status can change through the word, and then that's the power of the gospel. That's what I want to do. So for the next 3 years, I already have a plan for that. So in DC, Maryland, Virginia, I'm gonna put one of the wellness center headquarters, one each state, and then it's gonna be spread out slowly out through the state. And then the next one is a new team formed inside the covenant, and then I have a good opportunity to work with the Remnant from our church, Washington Emmanuel. We actually set up the system of 3 enterprises. So we talk about the social impact enterprises. So we try to help people with a disability. We're going to help people with refugees. So we already have a system, and then we have to register, and then we sign up for the program, and then we try to kind of form them from the new system, and then reach out to people in the field. That's I just kind of answer from the remnant from the church. That's going to be correlate to my wellness center from the healing ministry to the summit. So they're just connecting each other very well right now. I think we just keep going, move on to it. And then next one is a connection community outreach prep. So right now, due to the pandemic, not able to reach out to people, but sooner or later, post COVID-19, so the life's gonna be new format. So maybe we talk about the content is meeting. So we're not going to face up to meeting, but my business plan is opposite, totally opposite from what we're thinking. So in order for me to treat people, I have to meet with people. I have to see their face. I have to treat their body. I have to put my hands on their body. So everyone looking for healing hands, so not only for that, I can also, my main goal is not only physical body treatment, only soul treatment too. So I have to reach out to people with a different strategies. So for the next 5 years, maybe people try not to face them up, they're not gonna meet each other, but my business plan is different. I'm gonna going into their house one at a time, and then I'm gonna talk to them individually in their house environment. And then that's better because I can focus on their treatment. At the same time, I can share the gospel right there. So that's my business plan, a little bit different from other people. My devotional local church in the region, I've been very highly engaged in prenatal infant ministry in the state. Last RCA was held in Chicago. I was there for guest speaker for infant ministry. I was talking about the master plan for 3 years of childhood, because my first daughter, Sarah, was born in 2019. Right now she turns 3. So last year I talked about the master plan for a master program for the development, and then following the Word of God, the program I just presentation to the people in RCA. So I do Remnant support different ways, physically or monetarily, or whole different ways. Also, the last devotion and 3 enterprises of formation and initiation. So it's going to be spread out from the Washington Mandala Church. And then the answer I'm looking for the next 5 years, we have to do church planning in the field. So many people in Darapa, they have a church throughout the state, but many area, there's empty spot, empty reason, there's not many church established. So we're gonna plant a church along with the wellness center. So it's gonna be spread out soon. So we have to prepare for it. So this is one of the examples I want to show you. This is one of the prenatal ministry. I'm showing a present about master program of 3 years of childhood development last year, Chicago, during the special presentation. So sorry, I just put in the Korean. The one in the middle, you can see the 9 different columns. So when you look at the one in the middle, center, the five IGTC, 1, 2, 3, 4. We talked about 1, 2, 3. Right now, I'm talking about the IGTC 5th generation. So we're gonna build up, we're gonna just raise strong posterity. So they're gonna carry on the world movement and the evangelist movement. So we talk about intellectual power, and then spiritual power, emotional power, and then physical power as well. But we are talking about the breakdown in the period from the mom's womb, and up to 12 months, up to 24 months, up to 36 months. I'm just showing you a little as an example. Time's almost up. For encouragement for Remnant leaders, like a message from the last night from the lecture 1, the RCA 2020. I start from nothing. I have nothing but Christ. Nothing. Nobody help me. That's gonna be life. But if you're inside the gospel, inside the Christ, you will receive everything through Him. Yeah, that's what I talked about it. Yeah, I believe nobody gonna understand you. Maybe you may be having a hard time holding on to. Maybe just gonna trust people. But if you're able to worship by yourself in the leisure time or free time, if you just look up the Word, look up to the God only, solely, and then you're gonna start from nothing, but you're gonna be everything eventually. priority, worship. I think there's nothing more important than anything else of the worship. That's how it's going to receive the answer throughout the perfect message, no other ways. And the time management, like I mentioned that I've been working 2 or 3 jobs at the same time, full-time student. I literally slept like 4 or 5 hours since 2006. Right now, I have no other way. Yeah, yeah, because sometimes I sleep in, but if you have to kind of find the efficient way to manage your time, you have to put the priority first. You have to prioritize first what you gotta do first, what's important first. Otherwise, time management gonna mess it up. So I want you to think about time management and priority. Very important. So the first one is a holy meditation. I believe you guys will receive the power from the holy meditation. So if you hold on to the word, think about all the time through the word, and then I think it becomes powerful in your life. So yeah, I want you to kind of experience. I'm not there yet, but I'm there. I'm practicing every day. I'm sitting in the chair every morning, every night before to go to bed, and I try to meditate on the word. Yeah, and the challenge. So challenge yourself. Yeah, there's no other way. You challenge yourself with the word. You got to challenge yourself. You have to break out of the box. Do not stay in the comfort zone. You know, whatever you like to, maybe make you become comfortable. Maybe stay one in place, but come out of the box. Challenge yourself with the word. Yeah. If you know the word, if you listen to the word, just kind of knocking on the door with the word. So God's gonna open up the way. God will open up the opportunity. If you have a hardship, if you have a greater hardship in your life, God gonna change into greatest opportunity, greatest blessing to the word of God. This is how I pray. This is maybe, I'm not sure if you guys are looking at the before, and then I actually introduced that to people in RCA last year in Chicago. This is how I'm using my tool. This is my note taking. This is how I just organize my thinking. This is called Mandala Chart. So when you look at the center, there's a covenant, bottom, vision, left side, dream, and the image in the practice. And then there's the word of the theme and the word of the important word. And then I just kind of put the word, and this is in my head. I just kind of put it out right there. I just kind of put it on the screen, and I just want to show that to you guys. So my healing ministry in the left up corner, and then my family, pretty much a healing ministry, is going to be lying on the healing ministry soon. And then my 2 daughters going to be carry on the healing ministry as my masterpiece. And then my business, there's a CVDIP for my business, the CVDIP Answers right there. And then my church is CVDP as well. Exists. So church CVDIP, there's a Darapang Movement Restoration. And then the vision is a covenant revival in the United States. And then we're going to raise up the second generation leader to carry on the world movement. And then image training was a 2 days. That's why my church is going to be practicing, and then every weekly basis. So, and then practice wise for the church. So we're going to lay the foundation of the world movement throughout the next generation. So. This is from the last year of RCA. From the first message, I put that from when you look at the left picture on the left, that's the message from the past year. But on the right, that's the chart and the note-taking method that I'm using it. So I just put a simple word right there, and then I just can make a connection. So I can just put it in my image there in my head. So this is one of the image training I'm doing it. Every time I listen to a message, I put it in my head like this. So part of the message from the last year, RCA, the first lecture was Remnant's sacred numbers, 1, 3, 8, 14, and only. So Pastor, you talk about the nobody, no way, no time, nowhere. And then the first main point, the first one was imprint first, that you can just conquer the world. Second was only discovery, everything in Christ. Second one is a job, only possible found in Christ, and then kingdom of heaven. The last one is read Emmanuel, oneness. And if you have a lonely time, if you have loneliness problems, that's the problem crisis. That's the only time you could enjoy Emmanuel with and oneness. That was the message from the last year. That's in my head. So I want you to kind of refer to any method you guys kind of utilize for the next or future generation, any method you want to just take it as a good way to do it. Okay, that's from the CVDIP from the Impact Ministry, and that actually were from the purpose message for the Washington Manual. And then I just kind of collect the word one at a time, and then I found the word of the government, vision, dream, image, and practice. So sorry, I didn't put that in the English version, but I just kind of show you to you how it's kind of organize the words of CVDIP. So Infant Ministry, Prenato Ministry in the United States is going to be based on the word CVDIP we have right there. So this is the baseline. This is the word we're going to kind of answer, receive the answer for the next 30 years. So this is a CVDIP answers from the word for Prenatal Ministry. If any question, concern, just you can text me, you can do Kato, you can email me. I'm sorry, you can look at my email address. That's a little bit, maybe you're not agree with that, but it's a handsomeman57gmail.com. Yeah, my phone number is right there. If you have any question, you can ask me right now, or you can just, I can open-minded, I can answer any question you guys have. You can contact any method you want to do. So if you're interested in acupuncture or wellness center, you can just give me a call, give me a text, you can reach me out, okay? Is anybody had a question, or you can just look up anybody leave the question on the board. Anybody have a question, you can put it on the chat box. Or any question, raise your hand. Okay, that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry if I have talking through too fast, but I'm pretty much running out of time. I'm trying to kind of show you everything I have. I'm so happy to meet all of you guys here on the Zoom link. I hope you enjoy the Word of God and the worship service of tonight.